welcome to this month's Real Simple, where I simplify all things real estate. So this month I am talking to you about HOAs. So this is kind of a big thing, especially nowadays with all these new neighborhoods going in. So there's a lot I want to cover. So what is an HOA? An HOA is a Homeowners Association. So a lot of new neighborhoods do have HOAs, especially if they have amenities and whatnot. There are definitely still neighborhoods in Colorado Springs, even newer neighborhoods that you can find that don't have an HOA. So really this information is for you to take in. If you're looking to buy, you'll need to decide if you want to be in an HOA neighborhood or not, or if that really makes a difference at all. An HOA is run usually by like a board of directors, which is usually made up of other homeowners in the community. So yearly there's like elections, that whole thing. Everybody in the community that is a homeowner is always invited to the board meetings so that you can get involved if you don't like how something's being run or whatever. That's where a lot of like the big decisions for the HOA take place. A lot of times they are managed by like a management company, property management company, HOA management companies. So a lot of times you'll have like your management company is this name and then your HOA is this name. That's why. It's just because this management company is managing the HOA for this, making sure that everybody's paying their dues, paying fines if there's fines, sending out notices if you're not in compliance, whatever. So that is the basis of what an HOA is. There is usually going to be a monthly or quarterly or annual fee associated with the HOA. And oftentimes, even if you get in a neighborhood that doesn't have an HOA but have a covenant, there may still be a fee, but that's usually going to be a little bit more if you're in an HOA, especially if there's amenities like a fitness center, a pool, parks, that kind of thing. So there is an extra financial responsibility when it comes to living in an HOA. So keep that in mind. But you usually do get perks with paying into that. A lot of times like trash removal is included, snow removal, maintenance of the grounds around the parks, sidewalks, that kind of thing. If you're in like a townhome or HOA, a lot of your exterior maintenance is included. So basically your job is to worry about everything within the walls, and then everything outside of the walls is covered by the HOA, the roof, siding, outside patios, that kind of thing. Depending on the HOA, of course, we'll look into that. If that's the lifestyle you're looking for, we'll make sure that that townhome or condo complex does take care of all those things. But typically, in those kind of complexes, you are going to have that full exterior maintenance included. Okay, so let's talk about like pros and cons of HOA. So pros, your neighborhood is usually going to probably stay pretty nice. There's usually regulations and rules about, what can park in the neighborhood, weed control, making sure that your house isn't covered in weeds, that your lawn is kept up, that there's trees. You're also typically going to have rules about like house color, roof color, that kind of thing, which can be good and bad. So that could be a pro and con, but the pro is that it keeps the neighborhood kind of looking nice. So you're not going to have some random neon blue house with all these other like neutral colored houses or whatever that really stand out. So it kind of just makes the neighborhood look a little more uniform. If you're in a home, your roof, your paint, your driveway, that kind of stuff isn't probably going to be covered in HOA maintenance, but other like walkways, parks, that kind of stuff is all taken care of and going to be nice. The last big one is a lot of HOA neighborhoods do have amenities, which is another big pro. So like fitness center, pool, other clubhouses, sometimes dog parks, other parks, that kind of thing. Those are some pros of an HOA. Now the cons, obviously, again, you have an additional financial responsibility when you're a part of an HOA neighborhood, and when you buy a home in that neighborhood, you are automatically held to that financial responsibility. So they'll usually take like the first month at closing, and then you have to abide by that going forward. If you don't pay the HOA, or if you get a lot of like notices where you're not in compliance, have a lot of fines, and those don't get paid, that kind of thing, the HOA actually can put a lien on your home. So then when you go to sell it, it can be harder to sell. You'll have to definitely pay all of that off. If you are repainting your house, you usually have to get that like approved. So not only are there certain color schemes or whatever you have to stay in, but you actually have to send your color plans, same with the roof, to the HOA for approval. Landscaping a lot of times has to be approved by the HOA. If you're doing any kind of additions that are going to kind of expand outside of the house, or like sheds or anything like that, those all will probably have rules and guidelines that they have to fall under, requirements for those things. And a lot of times you'll have to submit those plans or whatever to the HOA so that they can actually give the stamp of approval. So that can kind of be an inconvenience sometimes. Another con is parking restrictions. So sometimes there can be parking restrictions. Like I said, you can't park on the street. You can't park in your driveway. You have to park in your garage. Things like that. You can only have so many cars around your house. If you're like a home mechanic and you work on a lot of cars at home, probably going to want to steer away from an HOA neighborhood. Again, when you go to buy a house, we will get those rules and regulations before you close pretty early on in the contract. So if you don't agree with those rules and regulations, you can get out of the contract due to those HOA rules if they're not going to fit your lifestyle. Another one is pets. There could be restrictions on the number of pets, the size of pets, that kind of thing. So all things to think about. HOAs are kind of a loaded topic, neither good nor bad. And again, it's just kind of a decision you need to make. It may not make a difference either way. You may be like, oh, I absolutely want an HOA neighborhood, or I absolutely don't want an HOA neighborhood. So all things to think about HOAs. Of course, if you have any questions, please drop them below, or go ahead and reach out to me. I'd be happy to answer them for you. So don't forget to subscribe. I am Janessa Turbis with New Dawn Realty. Always excited to share real estate information with you to make it a little bit simpler and easier to understand. Thank you so much.